Here we go. Right, welcome everybody. Wednesday morning, and yeah, we've got probably a bit of an interesting scenario here. I wouldn't say I particularly like where price is on anything, at the moment. So, just obviously be aware of that. We got the dollar. If I go through the dollar initially, where it is, hopefully, obviously, you guys joined the live last night and enjoyed that. I went through quite a lot. But obviously we got, dollar kind of trapped in this kind of range here, and I don't know what we're gonna really how it's gonna react. Obviously, we've had two attempts at 98, hasn't broken. So I'm kind of looking not obviously at anything long term, right now. I'm kind of expecting because we haven't even got any dollar, news at the moment. I know we got Trump speaking early in the morning, but obviously there's nothing to really come out now. I think we've got a bit of jobs data tomorrow, but that's about it. So I am looking at potentially price doing something a bit like this over the next kind of couple of days. But yeah, I do kind of favor 97,500 being tapped before we tap 98 again. So, it doesn't matter how strong the dollar is, how good the data is. We've had two attempts, like I'd said, at 98, and it's failed. So yeah, that's obviously why we're in a bit of kind of no man's land, that at the moment. As long as we're in here, it's kind of a bit of uncertainty. If we break above, then we're going to be happy to buy again and go for it. If we break below, especially if we break this level here, then obviously that's going to be an area where we're going to be looking to kind of hop on selling the dollar. I think Trump's going to later on, it doesn't matter where it is. I think we're going to do something like this today, and we're going to end up roughly around this area. Trump will do his speech. It'll probably tap into, 98 again, but I think this is going to hold, and I think we're going to do something like this. So that will be my anticipation this week. Yields are obviously not really moving this week at all. And then obviously we got stocks which are kind of similar. Nothing's really moving at the moment. I don't know if we've got. Let's just have a look at next week, for example. If we're skipping ahead, we've got PMI data. We've got more PMI data, ISM data. We got jobless claims, so jobs the data. And then obviously we got non-farm payroll. So yeah, pretty big US dollar week, the next week. But if we look at obviously what is coming up today, we've obviously got euro. We had CPI data coming uh, as expected or as previous, so nothing really major for Aussie. So yeah. Oh no, Trump spoke this morning. So I'm gonna have a look into that. I thought that was gonna be for Thursday morning. And then we've got obviously your euro inflation data. We do have some jobs data, like I mentioned tomorrow, but nothing really major that's gonna kind of shift anything. So yeah, let's we'll wait and see what kind of happens here. We're going through obviously what we were looking at on the back of that because obviously I'm kind of hedging more that 97,500 is going to get tapped more than 98 is. Um, we're obviously going off the bat. We've had obviously Aussie hasn't tapped yet. I do think this is going to continue higher. We've had pound hasn't tapped yet either. Just stuck in this range here. You can see, price even yesterday afternoon didn't really move too much. We obviously had this move up, swing back down. It's a bit all over the place. At the moment, euro, we're currently in this trade. So obviously that is one that we are in. That's one that's triggered. I also don't think this is gonna kind of do too much. I'm not really too unhappy with where it is. We're around kind of break even. We got USDJPY as well. Got one position here. I've actually just added in. So let's wait and see. I don't think, if you think about all the hype and how quickly this candle moved up here yesterday, this one here, we actually caught this one yesterday, and obviously all the day price stayed in this range here. So it wouldn't surprise me if we come up and test this and then obviously come back down. Yen is pretty weak this morning, but obviously, if we look across the board here, let's we'll wait and see, if it's got enough continued momentum against it. Gold too, I think gold here in a little bit of profit. I am happy with gold. I'm expecting gold to, continue this week. My sort of ambition is 5,300. That is where I would anticipate gold heading. So yeah, we just gotta wait and see, obviously, what happens here, and obviously how can we interact, and obviously make sure that obviously we're capitalizing on everything. Just obviously take everything a bit more slower, because like I've said, we're not in a clean range. It was quite easy Monday, Tuesday. Yesterday was a bit, sorry, today, and yesterday afternoon, was a bit trickier. So we've always got to kind of, when markets are, nice and easy, it's because dollar's trending. We obviously had a pretty good week last week because the dollar was trending smoothly. I'm expecting obviously dollar to kind of, slow a bit. So obviously that's going to make everything a little bit slower. So potentially got to, come into everything a bit more cautiously. So obviously that's one thing to be aware of as you are trading. But yeah, that's obviously about it from me overall this morning. Does anyone have any questions? Does anyone have any questions? Right, let's have a look here. Morning, cannot rename today. Trump did his speech. Yeah, I know. I saw that. So I'm going to have a look into it. Obviously, he hasn't really done very much because obviously that's there. Morning, Dad. Trump spoken. Yep. 1 hour, 48 minutes of waffle. Yeah. Frustrating. This morning, Dad. Your US triggered mine was 24 pips spread on Vantage, so it didn't trigger now. Back to 14. Which platform do you use? I use Vantage. Um, yeah, it should have triggered. So, shouldn't obviously have any issues there. Have you added USDJPY? Yes, I've added in on you. Like I'd said, guys, it looks very, very messy. This does. Let me clean these off. So, like I said, guys, I have a pretty good structure, and obviously, I explained yesterday for anyone who watched the live. If you didn't watch it, go through it because sometimes when trades are going against you, you've got to manage it. So I'm getting in a bit of a routine now of doing top, middle, and bottom. And then kind of playing it by ear. So rather than going all in on your full lot size here, if you split it up throughout the zone, yes, if we have a day where it comes up, taps and then goes, you're only going to be in point 0.3, but it's more about the long term. It's more about protecting your capital. You got to make sure that everything's protected and it is all good. So I would rather edge on that side of caution than obviously edging on the side of kind of going for it early. So like we found out yesterday, yes, yesterday afternoon was a bit of a managing afternoon. Not every day you're going to get a trade trigger and it's going to go smoothly. All right. This is one expectation that everyone has to have. All right. It is one expectation that everyone has to have is that, you've obviously got to, you've got to anticipate it probably been a bit harder more times than it's easier. All right. Days like this, like yesterday, I think our entry on USDJPY was about here. We've literally tapped it, flown 20 minutes in, out, wham, bam, thank you, ma'am. It's not going to, that's not going to obviously happen, all the time. So it's about, managing, not over, risking. Like I'm currently, I don't think you guys can see this. Yeah, I'm currently I'm up on gold, but obviously I'm down on euro and down on USDJPY. But obviously, I'm anticipating this. It's okay. It's okay. I don't mind it. So and obviously, like I mentioned, there'll be a part of you that will be getting used to a bit of drawdown. So if you got an entry here which is just triggered, oh, if you got an entry here which is just triggered, there'll be a little part of you that's hoping, you know what, price rejected here once. I'd actually really like this one to trigger and then go because then I've got all three. And that's why I've developed this because obviously everyone kind of struggles a bit when trades in drawdown. I constantly get asked, what's happening. So let's wait and see obviously what happens. Was live. Right, let's go through some of these. CPI at 10 a.m. Let's wait and see. Was live yesterday with laptop and phone. Ha, I didn't know it was that tight. Thanks, brother. Like weaken it. What's happening with Japan hiding their huge debt and printing money? I don't think they've not hidden it. There's obviously nothing to hide. But I think yeah, they're they're Japan is. I think there is more chance of Japan having a huge move this way than there is up, to the upside. Yen, they obviously have got, negative interest rates, and obviously that's why it's categorized as a, safe haven. So if they change that, or as if they raise their interest rates, even if they raise it from like 0.1 to 0.05, that's going to be huge. It's going to inject so much money in. So yeah, it'd be interesting to kind of, see what happens. So yeah. Does anyone have any more questions? Any more for any more? Any more for any more? But yeah, this morning again, a little bit of a managing my morning. Like I said, I'm not worried at all where everything is. Yes, USDJPY has gone against us, but still we're within my zone here. All right, so anywhere we're within this zone on a 2 hour, I am happy. We're obviously intraday traders here, and so I'm obviously happy. You saw yesterday everyone panicking. I think the zone on GBP USD was like this, and obviously we got this lovely spike candle here, followed by these two hourly candles. So that's obviously one thing that you've always got to think about and anticipate. So yeah, just check through here. All right, no problem at all. Well, I hope everyone has a great Wednesday. I'm obviously on it all day today, so yeah, I'll keep you guys updated. Remember to trade, safe. We're obviously in a bit of intermittent land, at the moment, so don't over push it. Today is a day of managing and making sure we stay green. And obviously, yes, we just want dollar to head in one direction, as opposed to obviously doing what it's doing at the moment where it's trapped. So yeah, have a great day, everyone, and yeah, we will smash it. So let's go.